If the words "I'm coming over" stress you out more than any horror movie, keep watching. You know that feeling. Your phone lights up. "Hey, I'm nearby. Can I stop by?" Or worse, "I'll come over in a bit." You type, "Yeah, sure, that's fine," smiley face, because you don't want to seem rude. But inside, your brain quietly says, "There goes my peace." Your chest tightens. You look around your space. You start scanning. Is it clean enough? Do I look okay? Do I have to offer them something? How long will they stay? And suddenly, your calm, quiet, safe place doesn't feel so calm anymore. If you know that feeling, you are not weird, broken, or antisocial. There is a very real psychology behind why some people hate having guests over, even when they genuinely like the people walking through the door. Let's talk about it. For some people, home is just a location, a place to crash, eat, scroll, and then leave again. For others, maybe you, home is sacred. Home is where the mask comes off, where your shoulders finally drop, where your breathing gets deeper, where no one is silently evaluating what you say, how you look, or what you're doing. Out there, the world is demanding something from you. Be polite, be interesting, be productive, be on. Inside, at home, you get to just be. So when someone says, "I'm coming over," it doesn't always feel like a friendly visit. It feels like a tiny invasion of the one place where you're allowed to fully exist without performing. Psychologists talk about something called territoriality and territorial comfort. It sounds dramatic, but it's simple. Your home isn't just walls and furniture, it's your territory. It's the one place where your nervous system knows we're safe here, we're in control here.
You know where everything is. You know how loud or quiet it will be. You know what's going to happen next. Your brain loves that predictability. It uses it to relax. Now imagine your mind as a perfectly still pond. When you're home alone, everything is calm, no ripples. When a guest comes over, even a kind one, it's like someone drops a small pebble into that pond. Nothing catastrophic happens, but the ripples spread everywhere. Furniture may not move, walls don't change, but the energy of the room does. Now there's another person's footsteps, another person's voice, another person's emotions and expectations filling the space. Suddenly, your brain is back on duty. It's noticing if they're comfortable, if they're bored, if they're judging, if they're staying too long. Even if they're not thinking any of those things, your mind is monitoring just in case. That is not relaxation. That is work. Especially for people who are more introverted, sensitive, or observant, hosting is not having someone over. It's managing someone in your most personal environment. Out in public, your brain expects that. At home, your brain resents that. For a lot of people who hate having guests, home is their recovery zone from social effort. Out there, they're polite, funny, helpful, together. They read the room. They soften their edges. They play the role that keeps everything smooth. It's not fake, it's just effort. And effort drains. So when they finally walk through their own front door, they're done. No more mask, no more social performance. No more, "How are you?" when they don't have the energy to listen to the real answer. Home is where they recharge the battery. Now imagine this. You get home, you're mid-recharge, and then someone walks in and, without meaning to, flips your social switch back on. You love them, but your nervous system is like, "Wait, I thought we were off duty." So you snap back into host mode, smile on, body language open, monitoring their mood, their needs, their comfort. Meanwhile, deep inside, another little percentage of your emotional battery drains quietly in the background. This is why some of the kindest, warmest, most caring people you know are the ones who feel the biggest relief the second the door closes and the guest is gone. Not because they're two-faced, not because they're rude, but because silence at home feels like oxygen. Psychologists often see this in people with strong emotional boundaries. They don't necessarily push people away, they just guard the spaces that keep them sane. To them, home is not a stage. It's not the place to impress. It's not the place to host everyone's emotions. It's where they go to put themselves back together. That's also why a lot of these people prefer meeting in neutral places, cafes, parks, restaurants, anywhere that isn't their private world. In a neutral place, both people are guests. The environment doesn't belong to one person's nervous system. You can get up, you can leave. Your inner world is still your own. But when guests come into your home, there's an unspoken script. You're the host. You're responsible for their comfort. You don't just walk away and say, "I'm going to my room now, enjoy the living room." Even if the other person is chill and low maintenance, your mind can't fully believe it. It still feels responsible. Now, for some people, the discomfort around guests doesn't start in adulthood. It started a long time ago. Maybe you grew up in a house where "we have guests" meant stress, yelling, last-minute cleaning, parents snapping at you to behave, putting on good child mode, expectations to perform, serve, smile, and be perfect. Or maybe guests meant chaos, people staying too late, strange adults, loud talking, arguments, alcohol, drama you were too young to handle. Your nervous system remembers that. So now, as an adult, even if your home is calm and cozy, the phrase "someone's coming over" can quietly activate an old script in your body. Your heart rate goes up, you suddenly see every flaw in your home. You feel watched even before they arrive. You're not overreacting. Your body is reacting to years of associating guests with tension, pressure, or loss of safety. There's another layer people rarely talk about: shame and perfectionism. A lot of people secretly think, "My place isn't good enough." Maybe it's small, maybe it's messy. Maybe you don't have the kind of furniture, decor, or aesthetic you think you're supposed to have. So when someone says, "I want to come over," it doesn't feel like, "Yay, company." It feels like, "Oh great, now my entire life is about to be inspected." Even if your friend would never judge you, your inner critic does it for them in advance. You start cleaning things that don't matter. You rehearse explanations for why things look the way they do. You feel like you're about to be graded on your home, and by extension, on your value. No wonder your body tightens at the idea of hosting. Some people are also highly sensitive to sensory changes. Maybe you notice things other people don't. The sound of someone else's footsteps, the way they move your stuff, the change in the smell of your space, the way your room feels physically different when someone else is there. To most people, it's nothing. To you, it's 100 micro changes your nervous system is tracking all at once. So having a guest isn't just social, it's sensory. Your brain, which was used to a certain level of quiet and order, now has to process another person's rhythms, their volume, their movement, their habits. That's not you being dramatic. That's your system noticing input and trying to cope with it. And then there's this. People who hate having guests over are often very empathetic. They don't want anyone to feel unwelcome. They don't want anyone to feel like a burden. So they overcompensate. They make sure everything is perfect. They ask, "Do you need anything?" a little too often. They let the guests stay longer than they're comfortable with because they don't want to make them feel rejected. On the surface, it looks like warm hospitality. Inside, it's quiet self-betrayal. Every time you ignore the little voice that says, "I'm tired, I want my space back," you teach your nervous system that your peace doesn't matter. Over time, that builds resentment, not necessarily toward the guest, but toward yourself for always overriding your limits. Here's the part no one tells you. You are allowed to protect your space. You can love people deeply and still hate having them in your home. You can care about your family, your friends, your partner, and still feel your whole body relax only when the door finally clicks shut behind them. That doesn't make you cold, it makes you honest about what helps you feel regulated and safe.
Having emotional boundaries with your home is not selfish, it's self-preservation. Of course, there's a balance. If you never let anyone into your space, ever, and you feel more and more trapped, isolated, or stuck in your own head, then your home might be turning from sanctuary into prison. That's when it helps to ask, am I avoiding guests because I truly need solitude and privacy? Or am I avoiding them because I'm scared of being seen, mess and all? Sometimes the kindest stretch you can offer yourself is letting someone safe see your home. Not perfect, not staged, just as it is. Not every visit has to be an event. Not every guest needs a spotless environment. Real friends don't care if there's a mug on the table or a pile of laundry in the corner. But you get to decide who earns that level of access. Not everyone in your life deserves to be in your sanctuary. Some people are cafe friends. Some people are text friends. Some are park walk friends. Very few are come into my messy home and see me unfiltered friends. And that's okay. So if you're someone who hears, I'm coming over, and your body says, no thank you, remember, you might value your space more than the average person. You might be more sensitive to energy, noise, and disruption. You might have a history that wired your body to associate guests with stress. You might be recovering from a world that expects you to perform 24/7. None of that makes you broken. It means your brain takes your environment seriously. It means your home is more than a backdrop. It's part of your mental health. You're allowed to say, tonight doesn't work, but let's meet somewhere else. You're allowed to prefer neutral locations. You're allowed to have people I see out and people I let in. You can love people and still lock your door behind them with a deep exhale of relief. That exhale is your nervous system saying, thank you for choosing me. If this video made you feel a little less weird about hating having guests over, tell me in the comments, my home is my sanctuary. And if you want more psychology videos that explain your habits, the ones you've always had but never understood, hit that subscribe button right now. We break down everyday behavior in simple language, and the next video might finally put into words something you've been feeling your whole life.